So, one of the things that occurred to me for today is I was noticing I had this experience where I was tossing some clothes into the hamper, and it was a toss like from the bathroom into the closet, and I realized I tossed them, and then I let my attention go to something else. So I tossed them, but I didn't follow my toss, and they stopped short. And so then I started experimenting. So I started experimenting with following my toss with my attention all the way. And this, of course, is not peer reviewed or anything. But what I really found was that when I kept my attention all the way, I completed with my attention, things tended to have less wobble. Because what I'm noticing is that we're in just a really high wobble time right now. I started noticing this a couple of months ago, is that I would put something down and it would fall off where I'd put it. I'd reach for my cane and it would fall over. And I thought, I'm imagining this isn't just unique to me, that I'm having a sense that so many things are pulling us right now, both with what's going on in the world, but also just, I think, psychologically and energetically, that there's so many things pulling at us that I thought today that a very good loop of awareness practice would be basically fanning and focusing, so that we're able to notice what's going on at the edges, and then focus on where we're wanting to put our attention, and then letting fan. And then I realized, where do I come home to with my attention? And I want to ask you to inquire about that, to where you naturally come home to, that lets you know, here I am, I'm present, I'm aware, but also it's sort of like your home base. We created this wonderful, we bought this pillow for our cat Allie a while back. It's an orthopedic heated pillow that I know it's very, I know we told Allie, you're just going to have to get used to us being helicopter parents now, and that's how it is. And she's being very patient with us. But after she got over her initial, she ignored it for an entire month, like, ew, what's this? And then I put some catnip on it one day when she was nearby, and she caught a whiff of it and on her pillow, and then that was it. So it's her home base now. And what I realize is that when she comes in, because it's in our bedroom at the bench on the base of our bed, is that when she comes home, that's her home base. So she comes in and she gets on there, and I can tell she just, this is where I'm safe, this is my space, and I can spread out here. And I thought, each of us has, I think, a place or a way of being with ourselves. Is like, what I sometimes call the maypole or the tuning fork, how it is that I know, okay, here I am. And for me, I realize that I come into my spine, whether I'm coming in from the front or coming in from the sides or the back, I'm actually noticing the length of my spine. And that's where I really get a sense of I'm in flow or I'm stuck, but also it's where I pivot from. I pivot from my spine. And so I want to have you practice fanning, that is letting your attention go out, that you're actually fanning your attention. So you're letting it be like a big sprinkler that's fanning out, and just seeing what comes into you as you do that. And then focusing, like we have a blooming plant that's just directly in front of my eyesight, and so my focus went, and then fanning and then focusing. But when you come back to you, how do you fan inside yourself? And that's where I was feeling the fan in my spine, and the when it's closed, the focus, and then when I spread the fan out in my body, I just notice what's going on throughout my body. So I wanted to have you play with. We're much more used to fanning and focusing out here, but let yourself do that a little bit of letting yourself notice out here. Sometimes I like to use my hands to give my eyes the idea of what to do, and I get whole body involvement. So if you want to play with fanning and then noticing, like I can look out and I can see both of my hands. So I've been practicing fanning for a long time, and it allows me to be aware of the environment that I'm walking into, rather than and really creating a space of connection. And then my focus is, I want you to invite your focus to be on something that's beautiful, something that has open space, something that draws your curiosity, and then fanning out again, and then focusing. Because I want to train my attention to look for what's working, and to look and to notice openings and to notice beauty. And I have a quote I'm going to read you in just a little bit that I also found. But when you come back to you, how do you fan and focus inside? So you might have when you fan, it might be like you're in a shower and you're letting the shower of awareness come through your body, and then you might notice one area. Like my attention just went to my left heel for some reason, so I'm just going to give my attention there to my left heel. Oh, and when I give my attention there, I noticed that foot had a little bit of tension, so my foot was a little bit off the floor. So now I'm letting my foot rest into the floor, and coming back to my focus inside. It's basically circulating your attention, which is what Loop of Awareness is all about. But if I am bringing my attention with my action, I think that's the big thing that we're training, is when I'm practicing, is when I'm moving through the world, am I bringing my attention to what I'm actually doing, and all the way through to the end. Because that was what I was feeling, that I distracted myself before I had actually landed my clothes in the hamper. And so with all of the distractions that we experience today, really being able to fan, focus, and follow. Ooh, that's a good one. So the 3 F's: fan, focus, and follow. That one just popped up. That practice allows us to be in the midst of chaos and find the path forward, find the easiest action, make a choice that doesn't involve a whole lot of pushing things out of the way, because I'm really looking at and letting my attention align with my action. And that way, I have found I create much more ease for myself, rather than being, oh, I got to take care of this. Oh, I've got to do it. Okay, I'm fanning. This is what I'm doing right now. And it allows me to not get capsized by multitasking. Because whether it's internal multitasking or external multitasking. So fan and focus and follow is what I wanted to share with you I want to share this quote with you too. This is from Rebecca Solnit, and I don't know if any of you follow or read Rebecca Solnit. She's one of the, I think, the most astute, kind, and brilliant writers that we have going right now. She talks about politics in a different kind of a way. So she says, I still think the real revolution is to make the world safe for poetry, meandering, for the frail and vulnerable, the rare and obscure, the impractical and local and small. So I want to read it again. So I want you to think of fanning, focusing, and following in light of this, what Rebecca is saying. I still think the real revolution is to make the world safe for poetry, meandering, for the frail and vulnerable, the rare and obscure, the impractical and local and small. Yes, so let yourself take that in, because you could do a fanning inside, fanning and focusing and following with how you're receiving those words. So receiving and listening is one of the places where we can let that internal flow of our attention really allow us to find and enjoy the energy of the movement of our attention. So let's show the picture. I have this great. This is and I'm showing this one today, and I'd love for you. There's a fanning. We have the. I didn't realize what fanning is the wings. Focusing is the lightning, and following is the movement of the of the creature. So they're all there. I love how that happens. So letting yourself fan, focus, and follow on into the card, and then fan, focus, and follow back into you. And let me read you the sentence and the question here. I experience reality directly through my body and make genuinely response-able choices. I experience reality directly through my body and make genuinely response-able choices. Just letting that flow through me for a moment. To experience reality directly through my body. Yeah. And how can I shift from defensiveness into genuine openness to learning and discovery? How can I shift from defensiveness into genuine openness to learning and discovery? So I have thought and felt for a long time that the moment of defensiveness that happens for all of us, what we do when we get defensive, is really a major shift point that can allow maximum participation in life. And so probably when you get defensive, you close in some way. So I'd like you to just notice the last time you got defensive. It might have even just been a few minutes ago, or this morning or yesterday. For sure in the last week, I'm sure you got defensive. And notice, if you can, is there any residue in your body of how you responded? But so I notice when I get defensive that it's like a little trap door behind my ears shuts. It's like, that's it. And I get kind of stiff, and I do what I call a little huffy. So my closing has a kind of a shutting the door, and a kind of abruptness. And your closing may have may have a drifting, like it may be more like a flea. You may get just frozen. It's almost always related to fear, but or you may feel overwhelmed and just kind of get fainty. Or you may go, what the hell, and you get all fighty. But notice that in that moment of defensiveness, if you open to connecting with your body and what's the easiest shift you can make? For me, sometimes it's the out breath, or it's a wiggle. But how can I shift from defensiveness into genuine openness to learning and discovery? In my opinion, responsibility is the biggest issue on the planet. And I realize that this card handles both authenticity and responsibility, because it talks about I experience reality directly through my body. In other words, I'm willing to experience reality directly. I think that's a major issue for half the population here in the U.S., and I don't know what it is in other countries. But if I'm willing to experience reality directly, then my defensiveness, which comes out of fear, when I can be with and focus and fan and focus and flow with that, I open to being able to respond rather than react. And I love the arc of the little being there, and because you get the sense of that this is an amphibian. This is a creature that moves in all of the different spheres of life. So I find that absolutely wonderful and lovely. So let's come on back to the big group, and I'm going to take a drink of water. So just a little bit of fanning, focusing, and what I'd like you to do now is fan and focus on someone in the group and letting your flow of attention go all the way into appreciating them, and then coming back to you and letting that that you've been experiencing come back to you, and fanning and focusing and following. And for me, that always creates movement of some kind. And I sometimes have images that come up, but keeping your circulation of energy moving. I was just thinking, we have the Strait of Hormuz. Let's keep our circulation moving. You know, we have all these little obstacles in our own little Strait of Hormuz that can move out of the way when we are practicing flow. So let me also now turn to our Presence Connect play for today. This is a great one. Presence for this week, to practice your essence pace. Because one of the things I notice is that with everything going on, I can get separated from my essence pace pretty quickly, and especially getting more speedy, more, so much to do, and the fear of what's going to happen, anticipating and getting out ahead of myself. So if you know your essence pace, this is a great time to make that really a priority. If you don't know your essence pace, we have many videos on the Foundation for Conscious Living website, which will guide you through how to find it. But it's basically, if you want to practice it right away, it's basically letting yourself accelerate and then decelerate. It's best if you learn this walking first, but then you can take it into your breathing, into your, when you're writing, into your working on your computer. You can let your body move at essence pace with your breathing and the rest of your body, but it's best to start with walking, because there's a pace at which your loop of awareness includes you and the environment. In other words, you can be aware of you and aware of the space around you. Because, that might sound very simplistic, but what I've noticed is that people lose one or the other. So I either I'm out and I lose a sense of myself, or I'm in my own pace and I'm not aware of the world around me. And essence pace allows us to navigate the world with the most ease. And I've found when I'm in my essence pace that it actually transfers to my vehicle. I'm able to find parking places, that I'm able to really find the opening so that I'm not caught up in the swirl of whatever adrenaline rush is going on at the moment. So I want to invite you, just with your movement, could be with your movement with your hands, or the movement of your breath, to let your breath go faster and then slower until you find a breath that's in flow, or you let your hands go really fast and then you get to move really slowly. So you can do this, you can play with this even if you're not having the room or time to walk. But I love how some of you who are outside and who are able to move are playing with that. So letting yourself notice essence pace. And not that you have to know that right now, but I'd love for that to be part of your structure for the week, to let essence pace support you. Because I find I'm Particularly, I solve problems much more easily. I'm able to see possibilities. When I'm coming from my essence pace, I'm including my whole body awareness rather than just my head. And our heads are going to be going, oh my God, oh my God. So if you're opening up to your body has a whole lot more wisdom than probably what's available to your cognitive brain right now. And essence pace makes that available. And also the whole principle of you can enjoy your life while you're helping to solve problems in the world. So you don't have to sacrifice your own well-being to be of service in the world. So being present and presencing yourself is one of the most important things you can offer to others. And here's connect, which is another really valuable suggestion, is to see others as allies. And that's particularly challenging, I think, right now for, those of us who have strong, strong views about humanity. And I've really been practicing seeing others as allies at the most fundamental level, is that we are fellow humans on this same planet. And so I touch into really being willing to see other people as humans. And actually for some people, even that is challenging for me. So I get into my own, what I really get into is my own contempt, my own seeing others as less than. And that's, that I think is really at the heart of what's going to allow us to unlock our vapor lock and to move forward as humans. Is I'm willing to see people that I have labeled as idiots, and reptiles, that I am willing to open the space to see them as human allies. And that's a stretch, and the alternative, is World War III. So I have a sense, actually, I think the alternative is we have the opportunity to create a new world. I was listening to a podcast that with Cheryl Eiffel, who is one of the most amazing speakers that I've ever heard. She was on MS Now yesterday, and in a podcast that I was listening to. So look up Cheryl Eiffel, and one of the things that she talked about, she says, when we get through this moment, and then she said, I know it may be longer than a moment, but when we get through this moment, we have the opportunity to really create a new world. And that's absolutely what I'm interested in. And so I want to start with the very basic, is being willing to see all of us humans as allies. And then what I've found is that really begins to create little miracles of dissolving power over and creating power with, and just creates new possibilities because we're in a new matrix. We're creating a new way of being together. So big project, but hey, what else are we going to do here on our one little planet? And then play is receive, then toss. So what I've noticed, particularly in conversations with people that I have a prejudice about, that I don't actually let myself receive the communication. I kind of do a dodgeball thing, it comes at me and I just push it back or bounce it back. But if I'm actually willing to receive, there's a softening and there's a connection that occurs. And it may be just a tiny little opening, but that's really, where our leverage starts, is with a tiny little opening, and then that expands over time as we step into it. So we get to step into quantum physics if we start playing with receiving Also, most of us are so intent on giving that we really are not giving ourselves the nourishment of receiving. So the people with whom you feel wonderful, that you feel, a sense of play, you feel a sense of being at home, you can be yourself. Let yourself especially receive from them. So, and then toss into your own world or toss back to them. So, letting the nurturers receive so that we're not over giving, which is a temptation for us. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. Wanted to share with you, I'm through my first week of my protocol for my long COVID, and had lots of interesting experiences, including a lot of rest. It was one day that I just basically slept all day, but I literally can feel it's like these little cellular janitors are taking out the trash, and they're moving around and gathering up and taking out the trash. And so waking up feeling, much more aliveness. And the big thing I'm feeling now is that I can feel my feet fully, which is very exciting. So stay tuned. I'm feeling very grateful, and just fingers crossed and knock on wood. Do I have wood? Yes, knock on wood. So please, some prejudices and superstitions linger a long time. Don't knock on vinyl. So please stay and share and exchange and receive as long as you want. And I'll look forward to connecting with you next time. So thank you so much for being in community. Bye now.